All right. Good morning, everybody. 11/21/2025. I'm going to try to get an intro done here. If you guys could help me to get everybody in and be diligent on helping out as a co-host, that would be awesome. Secondly, is as we go through this today, different speakers like different things. Um, maybe hold your questions if you can until the end, unless the speaker asks you to. But without further, ask for questions. And then I'll let the speaker, when he starts, let me know if he wants me to turn chat on or not, because I usually have it off. But with that, I'm going to let that speaker be introduced by somebody else, not me. And Corey, are you on here? All right, Corey, if you could take it away, get an introduction done, we'll go from there.
I'm trying to be very quiet. Can you hear me, guys?
We
Yep.
can.
I'm on a flight. Okay, so the person I'm getting ready to introduce, my good friend, my amazing friend, this gentleman's passion is helping people create financial freedom. He's been involved with crypto for close to a decade and is an expert in how to build businesses. Just like Texacoin, he has made over 40 grand in just under 3 months. So I think we all should pay attention to what he's doing right today. But more importantly than that, he knows how to have fun and is a down to earth family man that loves God. My mentor once told, well, I should say Brad's mentor once told him that he'd rather trust a short pencil to a long memory every day of the week. So grab a pen, and paper, or a pencil and take notes today. Folks, without any further ado, let me introduce you to my good friend, the amazing YouTuber, podcaster, and man of God, Mr. Brad Varnell.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you for that incredible introduction, Corey. And I'm just going to admit it. I know that this helps me get over my nerves. I am so nervous. And it's not because I haven't spoken to a lot of people before, but every time I get invited to be a part of something like this, I feel this massive responsibility to try to add value and to change people's lives. Because the reason I'm a part of Texit Coin is because I see the pain out there in the world. I see the people at the grocery stores that don't have enough money to buy the food that they want to buy. That don't have enough money. That are worrying about how they're going to buy their kids Christmas presents here in a little over a month. And having been around this industry, crypto and networking for man, the better part of my whole life. I mean, I was probably about 12 years old when my dad came walking through the door and told me about this company called Amway. And no matter what you guys think about Amway, the point was is it caused my dad to dream again. It caused my dad to see a bigger future, a brighter future in his life. And the most incredible thing that it did for me is it got my dad sharing books like Think and Grow Rich and How to Win Friends and Influence People with me. And it caused me to dream bigger. Folks, I'm here to tell you that I don't think God put us here on this earth to work for another man or woman for 40, 50, 60 years of our life to barely exist and barely just get by working 40, 50, 60 hours a week to then retire at 70 years old and try to live off of 40% of what we weren't making it on. And so the reason I'm here today is because I believe that all of you that are on this call see an opportunity in Texit Coin to better your life, but more importantly, to potentially better the lives of your friends and your family and your coworkers and people that you love. And so my goal is to help you get a little bit out of your comfort zone today and to give you some strategies that can potentially make talking to your friends and family and coworkers a little bit easier because I know it can be an uncomfortable thing. And so that's why I mentioned, taking notes. A lot of times you can just listen to to a person, talk, but I'm really going to go over some strategies. But before I do that, I want to just really quickly tell you a little bit more about me. So, my dad instilled a dream in me to create financial freedom in my life at a very young age. One of the things that I heard over and over and over as a young man was a lot of people have time and a lot of people have money. Very few people have both. And so I was always looking for a way to create passive income, create businesses, and create financial freedom in my life to where I could do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it with who I wanted to do it with. And I'm 52 years old now, turned 52 in July. And it took me the better part of, 30 years to figure that out. Many different businesses, a lot of different opportunities, things that where I came close to making it and didn't quite get there. And and then crypto was introduced to me about 10 years ago. I had a good friend, a mentor that was actually part of another network marketing business that we were in that tried to get me to buy Ethereum at $9, and I didn't listen to him. Long story short, I watched him turn $10,000 into about $2.2 million in 2017, going into 2018. And that was when that really got my attention. And I jumped into crypto full force, just dove right into the deep end, and have been pretty much all crypto ever since. I left my 9 to 5 in 2019. All of the work and everything that I had done leading up to that bull run in 2020 and going into 2021, for those of you that don't know, that was a massive upswing in crypto. I made more money in about 6 months between November of 2020 and May of 2021. I made more money in that 6 month period of time than I'd made in most of the rest of my adult life combined. At that point in time, I wanted to pay it forward. I wasn't involved in any type of a networking business at that time, but I wanted to help change other people's lives. So I started a YouTube channel called Real Infinite Crypto. And for the last 4.5 years, I've been educating people on how to invest in crypto and how to change their financial needle in their life through crypto. And then God bless Corey Moran for sharing an opportunity with me a few short months ago called Texit Coin. And guys, I don't know if any of you can relate to this, but guess what? I didn't do. I didn't in the beginning of July when Corey jumped in and he reached out to me, I didn't say, "Hey, yeah, that's the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. Let's go." No way. I had to do my research. I was very well, I can't. I'm losing. I can't think of the word, but I was nervous about it. I was not sold right away. And thank God Corey was patient with me, and that's one of the things that's a huge, huge, huge note to take. Don't think that just because somebody tells you no or doesn't jump in the first 5 minutes after you share Texit Coin with them that they aren't gonna. Corey continued to drip on me. Corey continued to share a picture of the old price of Texit coin every couple of weeks going up. And finally, on August 22nd, I said, "Okay, Corey, I'm in, man. I see what you saw, and I'm excited." And I rolled up my sleeves and I went to work. And so, guys, I've had ups and downs and a lot of things going on in my life. I'm going to tell you one real fast story, and then we're going to really get into the meat and potatoes. But for those of you that think, well, hey, this guy's been around for a decade, he's got lots of crypto experience, he's got this YouTube channel. Of course, he was killing it at Texit Coin. I want to tell you, I'm just a very regular guy that's very coachable. And that's one of the things that is so important in this type of a business is to be coachable. And so just a few short years ago though, this is how bad my financial life was. My wife and I were so broke that and we didn't have any groceries. We got 2 kids that we're raising, and my wife got a credit card. You guys have probably heard of Affirm. So it was kind of a newer thing, back in the day, but we had this Affirm card that had a $500 limit. And we came up with this plan. We're going to go to Walmart. We're going to go fill up two, three shopping carts, and we're going to get $500 worth of food to last us for however long that would last us, because we weren't sure where our money was coming from. We're entrepreneurs. We were committed to being not going back and getting jobs. Long story short, we fill up the carts, we get there, we check out. We got the whole $500 worth of groceries checked out and bagged. We go to swipe the card and it doesn't work. And after a few tries, we get a manager over there and we find out that this Affirm card was only good over on like the home side of things. Like if you wanted to buy, a knife or a gun or a blanket or something like from the home side, that's what it was for. You couldn't use it to buy groceries. And it was one of the most humiliating times in my whole life. I get choked up just talking about it. Because there I am with this woman that I've told I'm going to give her the world. You marry me, we're going to have an incredible life. And here we are, broke, no money to buy groceries with, and the card ain't going to work. And we literally had to leave the store that day, guys, without any groceries because they just, it wasn't going to work. I went home from that event and I just realized that I needed to do something different. And so when I see an opportunity like Texit Coin to help other people, that's why I'm so passionate about it, is because I know that there's thousands of other people out there that are going to have that same problem today that I had a few short years ago, and we can help them. So if you're taking notes, one of the first things I want you to write down is it ain't about you. It is not about you. When you've got somebody on your names list and you're trying to decide whether or not you want to talk to them and are they going to be interested, are they going to think I'm crazy? Are they going to say no? It's not about you. So quit prejudging your friends and your family and your contacts, your neighbors, your coworkers. Quit trying to just share this with the people that you think are going to be interested. Because I guarantee you, you are going to find out as you go through this journey that the people that you thought were going to be the most interested, a lot of times are the people that want nothing to do with it. And the person that you were sure wouldn't want anything to do with it is the one that gets the most excited. And guys, the point of that story is none of the rest of the world knew I was going through that when I was going through it. So some people in Texit Coin back then might have said, "Hey man, Brad is doing great. He knows a ton about crypto. He's got, a YouTube channel. Things are, going good." They had no idea what was really going on in my life. And so some of you, had you known me, you might have decided that you didn't want to share this with me because what if I wasn't interested? What if I told you it wasn't any good? Blah, 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 blah. Guys, one of the most important things that I'm here to do today is get you out of your comfort zone, because I know that 90% of you on here are scared to share this thing to a certain extent. You're worried about what other people are going to think. You're worried about getting a no. You're worried about getting told that, Texit Coin is a scam, that it's going to be a rug pull, that it's not decentralized, all of the things that you guys have heard. I assume most of you that are here at 6 o'clock in the morning Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern, are probably building a business though, and maybe you don't have a whole lot of uncomfort in sharing with people. But for those of you that are on the call that are maybe new to Texit Coin, and one of the challenges that you've had is sharing this with people because you're just not quite sure how to do it. It's uncomfortable. You got to get out of your comfort zone. And I just want to, share with you guys that you want to get out of that comfort zone as quick as possible. Nothing good happens inside of your comfort zone. All of the dreams that you have, all of the success that you want to have, the house that you want to buy, the car that you maybe want to own, the people that you want to help, all of that lives outside of your comfort zone. And so I hope that by the end of this call here, I've already wasted 16 of my, not wasted, but I've already used up 16 minutes of my hour here. But a wise man named Jeff Olson that wrote a book called The Slight Edge once did about a 3-hour training. And I swear to goodness, like 2.5 hours of it was all about this space in between your ears because he realized that most people know what they need to do. It's not the knowing that is the problem. The problem is the mindset. The problem is just getting outside of your comfort zone and doing it. So with that, I want to go to some notes that I had here and real quick. So when it comes to your names list, this is important, guys. If you don't have a names list, you need a names list. And now I'm a little bit old school. I like just a good old fashioned notebook, pen and paper. And but if you're a little bit younger, you like the computer, you can do it wherever. But what I recommend doing very, very early in your business, and if you haven't done it yet, you're just kind of doing things kind of helter skelter, then I recommend you still do this. Create a names list. This is what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to grab a pen and a paper after this call or sometime, later today when you have a few minutes. And I just want you to write down every name that you can think of for about 15 minutes. And what I mean by that is you don't even necessarily have to write their phone number down. Just start writing down names and don't prejudge. In other words, when you're trying to ask your brain to be creative, the first time you're writing down the names and a name pops into your head and you prejudge and you say, "Oh no, that person wouldn't be interested," you just told your brain to not come up with names. If you will just try this brainstorming exercise, I want you to I want you to imagine that I'm standing there next to your desk with $100 bills. And every single time you write a name down on the piece of paper, I put another $100 bill down next to you on the desk. And all I want you to do is write down names. And what I promise is going to happen, folks, is a few minutes into this, you're going to slow down. You're probably going to write down the first 15, 20 names pretty quick, but you're going to slow down. And that's okay. But if you turn on the creativity, all of a sudden people are going to start popping into your head that maybe you haven't talked to for a year or 5 or 20. With Facebook and all of the social media things, it's amazing who we can contact these days. But I just want you to write down as many names as you can in 15 minutes, and hopefully that'll get you to 50 to 100 names. Like if you're really not prejudging and you're writing down everybody, like Mrs. Smith from my third grade teacher, she might not even be alive, but write her name down if it comes into your mind. You can go back over the names list later and cross people off of it if you want to, but for this exercise, just write down everybody's name. And then we're going to kind of sort them out a little bit. You want your friends and your family and the close people that know you really, really, really well. There's going to be, one little, script that you're going to use for them. There's going to be a script for people that maybe you haven't talked to for 5 or 10 years. That's going to be a different conversation than it would be with somebody that you're in contact with regular. But the third part of the list that I think is one of the most important and that a lot of people overlook, guys, is the most successful people on the list. Those are, let's be honest, right? Those are the hardest people to talk to. It's easy to go talk to people that you're doing better than in life, right? But all of a sudden, when you start thinking about talking to, your doctor friend that's making $250,000 a year, or that business owner that owns a great big huge, construction company, and he's making, $250,000 a year, your accountant, your attorney, all of these people that are doing very, very well in life, a lot of times are the last people that we want to talk to. We want to go talk to the people that we're doing better than in life. And that's okay. I want you to talk to those people. I want you to try to change those people's lives. But guys, you got to understand that part of the reason that people are broke and living paycheck to paycheck, and if you've been doing this for a little while and you keep hearing, "I ain't got $1,000, I ain't got $1,000, I ain't got $1,000," you're talking to the wrong people. And once again, I love those people and I'm here. I want to help them. I do. And we're going to help them. But we got a limited amount of time here with Texacoin, right? These miners are going to sell out in the next 3, 4 months or so. We don't have forever to try to change people's lives. We got to get in there and change the lives that we can change. And so, one of the reasons that people that are doing better are the best people to talk to is number one, they're more open-minded. Part of the reason they've had that success is they're open-minded. Number two, they're usually doing some investing already. There's very few people out there that are making, six figures, multiple six figures, that aren't trying to figure out ways to create passive income, that aren't already invested in the stock market and those types of things, own maybe multiple real estate properties. Where the person that's just, living paycheck to paycheck and just struggling and broke all the time and doesn't have the $1,000, a lot of times they've never even bought a stock. They've never invested in anything. And so it's a big road, big hill to climb a lot of times when you're talking to some of those types of people. So I want you to get out of your comfort zone, and I want you to make like the top 5 to 10 list of people that you're the scaredest to talk to, that it really makes you nervous thinking about bringing to this to them. And I want you to use this approach if you feel comfortable. I've found that what works for me when I'm talking to somebody that's really doing extremely well in life is to ask them for their opinion. Because something else about successful people is they love normally to help other people, and they would love to give you their opinion. If you come at them like you're trying to recruit them into this business, they're going to push you away, especially if they consider themselves to be more successful than you. But if you come to them and you just be like, what do we got here? We got Andrea. Hey, Andrea, man, I came across this incredible investment that I'm super excited about. And man, I know you have done extremely well in your life. You've got this business that you're running and you're doing this and you're doing that. I have a lot of respect for you, Andrea. And I wonder, would you do me a favor? Would you take a look at this 10-15 minute video and give me your opinion on it? I would really like to know what you think about it. I'm super excited about it, but it would mean a lot to me if you would watch this video and give me some feedback. And I would say that 9 out of 10 times, if you approach Andrea in that method, that she's going to say, okay, yeah, I'll take a look at it for you. And guess what's going to happen? Andrea is going to do one of about three things. She's either going to get back in touch with you and say, hey, that looks really cool. I think you're on the right road. I think that is great for you. It's not really for me, but I think it would be something that you should do. She might come back and say, hey, I don't like the way that looks at all. It looks really risky. It might be this, it might be that, and tell you just flat out no. And she might even tell you that you shouldn't be doing it, but that's okay because you know what you got a hold of here. You don't really, they're not going to tell you that you shouldn't be doing it and you're going to listen to them. But a lot of times you're going to be surprised. Andrea is going to come back and say, hey, that looks pretty awesome, and I'd like to get more information about it. How does it all work? How do I get in on that? And so that is, I'm not going to go through how to talk to your friends and do everything. I don't have all day. Hopefully they'll invite me back to do some more of these in the future. But that's one of my best tips for getting out of your comfort zone and talking to the people that can afford it. Because you guys, when you get the right people, they're going to be coming in with 9 packs. If you've recruited a few people and everybody's just barely scraping through and doing a 1 pack, that's okay. 1 packs are fantastic. It gets them in the game, it gets them in the arena so that they can learn more. But when you're talking to people that got money, they're going to buy a 9 pack because one minor just doesn't interest them. They might even buy a 9 pack for themselves and then a 9 pack for their wives. I've got people in my businesses that have bought 9 packs for themselves, 9 packs for their wives, 9 packs for their businesses. And so the other thing is you're increasing the velocity of, earning those commissions and putting the money back into your pocket. And so, like I said, I know I'm on kind of a limited time schedule here. I'm going to take a quick breather because I know you guys probably need me to. I talk fast. And so I'm going to take just a breath here, take a drink of my Dutch Bros, and get on to the next topic. Uh, so one of the other things that I wrote down is when you're talking to these people, there's three things that they're asking themselves. And the three things that they're asking themselves is, can I do what they did? Do I have time to do what they did with me? And am I comfortable doing what they did to my friends and my family and my coworkers? And what I mean by that, folks, is when you talk to your prospects, when you talk to your friends, family, relatives, that's a filter that they might not even understand that they're using, but subconsciously they're asking themselves these three questions and trying to determine if what you did with them is something that they would do and would feel comfortable doing and have the time to do. And that's why it's so important. Part of the messaging for this was talk less. And I know I'm doing a lot of talking, but talk less. I literally do not tell anybody anything about Texit Coin when I'm prospecting them. So I might shoot out a text message that says, "Hey Andrea, you know, good, been a little while. Just wanted to catch up with you, and I was curious. Have you ever heard of Texit Coin miners? It's like owning a dividend producing stock." And inevitably, Andrea is going to say no 99% of the time, right? Most of the time, the people you're talking to haven't heard of Texit Coin. If they have, that's okay. But most of the time, they're going to say no. And at that point in time, you're just going to say something simple like, "Great, I think it's super exciting. You may or may not be interested, but is it okay with you if I shoot over a 15-minute video?" And let's say that you're on the phone instead of a text. Let's say you're on the phone, you call up Andrea. Andrea, 100 out of 100 times, is going to say what? What is it? What can you tell me a little bit more about it? What is a Texit Coin miner? And this is a key point right here, guys. If you start to explain what Texit Coin is, you've lost. They're going to prejudge. They're going to tell you no before they ever have an opportunity to really see what you want them to see. So your response to that question, when 100 out of 100 times when they ask you, "Well, what is it? Can you tell me more?" You just say, "Hey, I'm pretty new to this, and you got to see it. I can't explain it to you. You have to see what I saw. So go watch this video. I'm going to text it over to you. Just go watch the video." And for those of you that are lucky, some of your friends will just say, "Okay," but most of them are going to say, "Well, yeah, but before I go watch the video, I want to know a little bit more about what I'm going to be watching." You just got to stick to your guns, and you just got to go back to, "Hey, I'm pretty new at this. I'm super excited. Write this down. You may or may not be interested." That's a key thing to say when you're talking to your prospects. "I'm excited about it. You may or may not be interested, but just go watch this 10-minute video," and just keep pointing them back to the video. So we call it a third party tool. There's a ton of them. There's 5 minute, 7 minute, 10 minute, 15 minute. I got 3 or 4 or 5 that I really like, but just find the one that you like. It doesn't really matter what it is, but always point people to a third party tool. Never call somebody up or text them and try to explain Texit Coin to them. You want to point them to a third party tool. When they watch that third party tool, if they have any questions, you say, "Man, that's a fantastic question. Let me send you another video." And then you send them, like I start off with one of the 5 minute overviews that's kind of more AI generated. I think you all probably know what video that is. But if they watch that and are like, "Yeah, that's kind of interesting, but I got a few questions," I usually say, "Fantastic. Let me share another video with you that really got me excited about this." And I share the path to 16 with them. Once I'm done sharing the path to 16, I really love the Mike Healy Texit Coin window is closing fast, because in that video, it shows on a piece of notebook paper all of the prices from all the way back from like 20 cents all the way the path to $16 written out on a piece of notebook paper, step by step by step. And you can literally share with people, "Hey, this was the price in January. It went to this, it went to this, it went to this." You can point to that and show them how the Texit Coin has stepped the price up every step of the way. And then let's get into, I got so many things written down here, but I think the next thing to talk about, because we mentioned the three-way call. So remember, can I do what they did with me? Do I have time to do it? And am I comfortable doing it with my friends and families and neighbors? Those are the three questions that people are asking when you're sharing Texitcoin with them. So the can I do what they did? Well, if you call somebody up and you spend 45 minutes or an hour explaining to them what Texitcoin is, the first thing that they're going to say is, I can't do that. Yeah, Brad Varnell, he's been in crypto for 10 years. He owns a YouTube channel, blah, blah, blah. That's great for him. There's no way that I could call somebody and tell them what Brad just told me. So even though I could call somebody up and talk to them for an hour and probably explain Texitcoin incredibly, all I would be doing is shooting myself in the foot. People would prejudge and they wouldn't be interested, even if they were interested, because the first question, can I do what Brad did? They're going to say no to. The second question is, do I have time to do what Brad did? And they're also going to say no to that. People are busy. They're working. They got kids. They're trying to exercise. They got all these things going on in life. And we're trying to compete for a little bit of their time. And so they're going to say, no, even if I could do what Brad did, which I can't, I don't want to. I don't have time. How many? I'm like, am I going to spend 4 or 5 hours a day on the phone talking to people? Not happening. So they're going to say, no, they don't have time. And then they're going to say, am I comfortable doing what Brad did to my friends, my families, my neighbors, my coworkers? The answer to that is also going to be no. Because guess what? When you call somebody up and you talk to them for 45 minutes, you sound like a salesperson. You sound like somebody that needs them to get into your business. And that's the exact opposite. You don't need them. They need you. And that's another mindset shift. Guys, if you're going into this talking to people and you're nervous that they're going to say no and you're kind of scared to have these conversations, it's because you're thinking that you're selling them something and you're not. You're just sharing. You're sharing with them an opportunity that can change their life and you don't need them. You don't. If you think that your business is going to be successful or not successful based on one person's response, then you've missed the whole point of this. You don't need them, they need you. And once again, just like when I was at that grocery store, couldn't buy any groceries, none of the world knew that. It didn't announce it. You don't know what they're going through. You don't understand a lot of times that people look good, they smell good, and they're broke, because they got house payments and car payments and they're trying to keep up with the Joneses. And so once again, you have to come at them. You want to come to people from a position of power. Hey, I'm sharing this with you. You may or may not be interested, but this is a life-changing opportunity. Take a look at this video. And if you have that mindset where you are helping them, it makes it so much easier than if you feel like you're selling them. So that was a little side note. But once again, if we come back to the come back and bring it first full circle. Hey Andrea, this is Brad. How you doing today? Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Hey, that's awesome, man. I just want to give you a call. I know we haven't talked for a little bit, but I came across a passive income dividend producing asset that I'm super excited about. You may or may not be interested, but is it okay with you if I shoot you like a 15-minute video? And then Andrea says, no, well, like, what's it all about? And you then just point back to it, say, hey, I'm pretty new to this. I'm super excited. I'd love your opinion. I'm just going to shoot you over the video. Do you mind watching it? Andrea is going to say, hey, I could do that. That was about a 30-second conversation, maybe 2 minutes if you do a little bit of small talk. And then you pointed them right to a video. So Andrea is going to say, hey, I can do that. And then she's going to say, well, yeah, I got time to do that. Once again, you cover the time thing too, because it's only taking a short amount of time. So Andrea is like, well, I could do that. Like, I could talk to 10 people a day in about 20, 30 minutes. I could do that. I could free up 30 minutes and talk to people, 10 people for 2 minutes at a time. And then, the last thing is, am I comfortable doing that with my friends, family, and neighbors? And I would say most people be relatively comfortable just sharing a video with somebody. And so you kind of cover all three things by pointing to a third party tool rather than trying to explain everything yourself. And then so that leads to the three-way call. So what do you do when somebody has looked at the information and they say, yeah, I'm really interested. That looks amazing, but I have a couple of questions. This is their second opportunity to blow it, especially as far as duplication goes. One of my mentors back in a company called Legal Shield that I was in about 20 years ago always said that while, he always talked about, oh my goodness, while I was explaining the Legal Shield part, I forgot what I was going to say. See, guys, you don't have to be the smartest tool, the smartest or the sharpest pencil in order to have success in this. I'm living proof. I've done pretty well with this. I can't remember what I was going to say 10 seconds ago. Well, this is your second chance to blow it because, especially with the duplication piece, if you want your business to duplicate, then you have to do things that are duplicatable. So a lot of people will do that first step pretty darn well. It's not that hard to get you guys talked into sharing a third party tool and pointing them in that direction. But when they say they've got some questions and they want them answered, it's so easy to get on the phone with people and try to answer all of their questions yourself, especially once you've been around for a few months and you know all the answers. But the reason that we're talking about three-way calls today, it took me 37 minutes to get into the three-way calls. But the reason that we got into the three-way calls, here it goes. Do what duplicates, not what works. That's what my mentor told me 20 years ago. Do what duplicates, not what works. So I think all of us that have had some success, especially in Texas Coin, are probably guilty of this. There's probably some of you, and I'm guilty of it too, that have just signed people up all through my own talking, shared the video with them, answered some of their questions, and then got them interested and they bought a miner. But guess what? They're going to go back to that. Can I do what he did with me? Do I have time to do what he did with me? Am I comfortable doing what he did with me to my friends, family, neighbors, coworkers, and so on? And if you get on the phone once again and you spend 30, 40 minutes, an hour answering all of their questions, guess what you just did? You just created another roadblock in the system because they're going to jump in, they're going to buy a miner. But remember, they're running a filter with everything that you do with them. They're going to run a filter and be like, can I do that with my prospects? And they're going to say no. Once again, they're going to be like, I don't have 30, 45 minutes, an hour to answer all of these people's questions. Not only that, they're brand new. They're scared to death to talk to people in the first place. And now they think because you did it with them that they got to answer everybody's questions. So even though you got them signed up, we kind of call it where you won the battle, but you lost the war, because now when you go to have them share this with their network, they're going to come up with all sorts of reasons why they don't want to. And the biggest reason, they're never going to just say, well, it's because I don't want to do what you did with me. That's not what they're going to say. They're going to be like, well, none of my friends have any money. And, my friends are all too busy for this. And how many of you guys have heard the old, none of my friends are interested in crypto and blah, blah, blah. I mean, they've come up with 27 reasons why they can't share this with people. And it all comes back to one of the biggest reasons that they're saying that is because they don't want to do what you did. So you got them watching the third party tools. Now they're excited, they're interested, they've got a couple questions before they're ready to jump in. This is where you can just say a few simple words, and this is what I kind of recommend. Hey Andrea, that's great, those are some incredible questions. I'm pretty new to this, so I'd like to introduce you to, and then you pick out the person that you want to introduce them to. So obviously a lot of my team introduces their people to me. You've got Thomas, you've got Andrea, you guys, there's some great leaders here on this call. Corey, who introduced me, and I think I saw Sarah on here, and so on and so forth. But all you want to do is point them to a third party expert. So you just say something like, hey, Andrea, those are some great questions. I'm pretty new to this, and I would love to hear the answer to those questions too. So I'd like to introduce you to Brad Varnell. He's a super, super likable guy, good looking. He don't have any hair left, but no, you don't have to tell him he's good looking, but he's a super nice guy. and he's done really, really well in Texas Coin, and he really cares about helping people. And I think you guys would hit it off. I'd love to put you on a phone call with him and and myself. The three of us will hop on a call because I would love to hear the answer to your questions too. And it's just that simple. And then you text me or whoever it is and you just say, "Hey, Brad, are you available for a three-way call right now?" Or, and I'm going to text you back and say, "Yeah, absolutely." Or you're going to say, "Hey, are you available for a three-way call?" And I'm going to say, "Hey, not right now, but can we do it in 30 minutes or an hour?" Whatever the case might be, you want to put your people that are looking at this information on a three-way call with somebody that's not you. It doesn't have to be somebody that's been in the company for 3 months and that's made $1 million. It could simply be somebody that's been in the business even for a few weeks and it's got their first buy one, get one free, that's recruited three people. Because most people are going to ask three or four simple questions over and over and over and over. And so it's not that hard to become the third party expert. In the beginning, you're going to gravitate towards your upline who you know have had a ton of success. But if we really create this culture of three-way calls, you literally, all of you are probably in the WhatsApp group. Most of the people in that WhatsApp group, if they have ever gotten a commission or if they have ever gotten, a buy one, get one free, earn two free miners, they can hop on a phone call and answer a person's question. You would be surprised at how quick somebody can become the third party expert. Because remember, the person you're introducing to this third party expert, they don't know them. So it's all what you say that makes the difference. And you can edify the person that you're putting on a three-way call, even if they've only been in the business for 2 weeks, but they have, sponsored three people and made $1,000 and earned a couple miners free. That's an exciting story. You don't have to have Brad Varnell, who's made $40,000 in the last 3 months. If you tell somebody, "Hey, Sarah, I want to introduce you to Thomas DeBoy. He's been involved in Texas Coin for just a short period of time, but he's already earned some commissions. He's already earned a couple of miners free." And Thomas is just an incredible guy. He's a family man. He really cares about people. And he's really becoming a Texas coin expert super fast. I'd love to introduce you to him. That's all it takes. Thomas can get on there and say, "Man, I really love Texas coin," and tell his story. Everybody's story is going to be a little bit different. And then answer a few simple questions and then point the person back to you to get them enrolled. And so, real quick here, before I run out of time, I want to go back over the edification process because this is super important, guys. I want you to think about this. If I was going to introduce you to an expert, but I just said, "Hey, Andrea, I want you to meet my friend. He's, works at 7-Eleven during the day and building this Texas coin thing at night. And, he probably can answer your questions. He's only been around for a couple of weeks, so I don't know if he's going to be able to answer them or not. But let's get him on the phone." How excited is Andrea going to be to get on the phone with the person that you're trying to introduce them to? And not only that, even if you get Andrea to get on the phone, how much respect and you know how much influence is that person going to have when it comes to helping Andrea make the decision to jump into Texas Coin? So, guys, I don't want you to lie to people. I don't want you to tell things that you're not comfortable about. One of the things I love about this business is the care and the people. Like, you guys behind the scenes, Thomas said a prayer for us before we went live, and that meant a lot to me. I liked being a part of people like that. So I don't want you to lie to people. I don't want you to make up stories that aren't true, but you can find something good about everybody that you're going to put on a three-way call. And a couple of little things that you can do. I want you to listen to this and hear the difference. You get on the three-way call. You got Andrea and you got Thomas there, and you just say, "Hey, Andrea, this is my friend Thomas. Thomas, this is Andrea." That's one way that you can introduce the third-party expert. But I'll let you decide what you think is better. This is how I would introduce the third-party expert. "Hey, Andrea, this is Mr. Thomas Du Bois. Mr. Thomas Du Bois, this is Andrea." That one little shift puts Thomas in a position of power, of respect. Because who do you call Mr. and Mrs.? Usually it's doctors, like this is Dr. Thomas DuBois or so on and so forth. When you say, hey, Andrea, this is Mr. Thomas DuBois, that automatically elevates Thomas's status. And subconsciously, Andrea is thinking, oh, this is somebody important. This is somebody that I need to listen to. So I'm going to go back. You want to cover the four different, personalities when you're edifying the person that you're going to put onto a three-way call. So some people are all about the fun. You know who they are. They're like the dolphins of the world. They want to have all the fun. They're the ones that when you go to a networking event, they're the last person to leave, and they're definitely going to the social hour afterwards and they're meeting everybody. You also have like the owl that they're called, that the real analytical person. They're the ones that ask all of the questions, about blockchain technology and is this decentralized and so on and so forth. You've got you would call them the sharks, the people that are all about the money. They just want to know how much money can I make and how fast can I make it. And there's one more personality out there, like the golden retriever, the person that just cares about people. They're mission driven. They're not that excited about money. Money's okay, but if you can show them how they can change other people's lives, they're all about it. So when I'm edifying Thomas, I want to touch on all four of those things, especially if I don't know what kind of person I'm talking to. Now, if they're a close friend and you know they're a shark, all they care about is money, then you may or may not mention all of these things. But just as an example, if you're not sure what they are, I would say something like, then this is before I get on the phone. I don't want to do this right in front of Thomas. You want to do this before you get Thomas on the phone. But you're going to say, hey, Andrea, I want to introduce you to, Mr. Thomas DuBois. This guy is super sharp. Man, he is killing it with Texitcoin. He is making a ton of money. But one of the things that I really love about him is that he really cares about helping people. He's very mission driven. He's a godly man that cares about his family and cares about helping others. And he's a ton of fun. We really have a lot of fun doing this. He really enjoys himself. And he also knows all the facts about this business. He can tell you every single detail. He's a great person to get all of your questions answered. And in that little 30-second blurb, you touched on all four things. So, whatever type of person they are, they're going to be drawn to that. Then, once again, you get Thomas's permission to get him on a three-way call. You doesn't really matter who you call first. I like a lot of times to make sure that my prospect is on the phone because I don't want to waste my expert's time. So if for some reason this three-way call was going to be an hour later, you want to get the person that you're introducing to Thomas on the phone first so that you're not wasting Thomas's time. Because if you call that person back in an hour, sometimes they forgot, life came up, kid got sick, whatever. They may or may not be there. So I recommend calling the person back that you want to introduce to Thomas first. Once you've got them on the line, you just let them know, hey, I'll be right back. I'm going to go call Mr. Thomas DuBois and get him on the line. You simply do that. You get them on the line. You're like, Andrea, can you hear me? Thomas, can you hear me? Great. Andrea, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Thomas DuBois. Mr. Thomas DuBois, I'd like to introduce you to Andrea. And then I won't use the word shut up, but at that point in time, be quiet. It seems like a small thing, but I promise you, if any of you have ever done a three-way call or when you start doing them, you are going to want to jump in and interrupt Thomas. He's talking about something and you're thinking, oh man, I wish he would say this. Oh man, he needs to tell her about the buy one get one free. I promise you, the second that you jump in and you start talking and interrupting your expert, you've taken away all of their respect and authority. Remember, you're introducing them to Thomas for a reason. He's the expert. So why in the world would you jump in and interrupt him or remind him or whatever? Thomas is your expert. If you don't think Thomas is good enough to get your prospect from where they are to sending you $995 and enrolling, then don't use him for the three-way call. But if you do believe that he is good enough to do that, then just relax. The best three-way call is one where after you make the introduction, you don't say another word until Thomas basically says, "Okay, Andrea, sounds like you're ready to go. You're ready to get started." And Andrea says, "Yep, I'm ready to enroll." And Thomas says, "Fantastic. I'm going to turn you back over to Brad. He's going to walk you through all of the steps. Excited to have you with us, man. I look forward to helping you in any way that I can. And Brad, thank you so much for introducing me to Andrea. And you guys have a great day." But that 10, 20 minutes in between, you should say nothing. And I know it's going to be hard, but I promise you that that's a very, very key thing. And with that, guys, I'm amazed at myself. I've got, I could talk for 3 or 4 more hours. And like I said, I hope that I will be invited back. But that's what I wanted to share with you for today. The importance of the three-way call and the importance of just, I think if you remember nothing about this call other than they're asking themselves, can I do what they did? Do I have time to do what they did? And am I comfortable doing what they did with my friends, my family, my coworkers? If you keep that in mind when you go out and you're sharing this with the world, I think that you will start recruiting more people. You'll be having more fun. And so anyways, man, thank you so much for having me, Thomas. I'm going to turn it back over to you. I am happy to take some questions. I know we want to be respectful of everybody's time. So if you need to hop off, well, I'll let Thomas do that. But I'm here for as long as you guys want me to be here for, but I also want to be respectful of your time. So back to you, Thomas.
Awesome. Great information. Love, love, love. Everything duplicatable, everything simple, everything right on target for those that maybe needed a reminder or have never done networking before or all of the above. You just covered all of the gamut. So we love that. Does anybody, if you go down to the reactions and you check on raise your hand if you have a question for Mr. Varnell, we'll get that all going. Let's give that a minute. I do have a few announcements before we get off. Any questions? Okay, and by the way, yes, we will be inviting you back, and you are this team. You are just as you are this team, so we want you back. That
Thank
was
you.
just absolutely incredible. I know I was looking for some words there, and I didn't quite get them. I as well am proof anybody can do this business. So because we get duplicatable, because we use the tools, because we're not afraid of three ways. Three-way calls have made me more money than probably anything in life. So, with that, let me cover a few things, Brad, and then I'll let you close it out with some final thoughts. Okay?
Okay, real quick. Sandy, did you have a question? Sandy, you look like you had, nope. Okay, we're good. I thought Sandy might have had her hand raised.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking here and so far not seeing any.
Okay.
And anybody that's co-host, if you see something or know something, jump in there. So, okay, a couple things to cover as this is getting rolled out. Some new things. So we do now are able to, and right now I'm just announcing it through peer payments. It might be different in the future, but through peer payments we do take checks, and I'm preferring cashier's checks, and then personal checks. Now, I'm gonna get clarity on the personal checks, so I'm just gonna. You heard me just say it, so I believe it's possible. I believe it's going to be a part of the back office soon, but it's not. But if you can use a personal check, you can also do ACH, right? So we know that ACH is already back there. But if somebody wants to do a personal check or a cashier's check through peer payments, it can be in automatically. And through peer payments, I can put in the information and it's automatically set up. I don't know exactly how it's going to work if it's not through peer payments. So for right now, I'm announcing that I can accept cashier's checks and I'll get some clarity out there on the WhatsApp streams on personal, mailed to me, and I'll get the information. The information will be given out either individually or I'll put it on WhatsApp in just a little bit. Because I'm trying to get some clarity on a couple things, okay? Because this was just announced to the Rangers. But I do know for sure that I can take cashier's checks written to Robert Gray, but mailed to me, so I can then take it off of the invoices. It is not a 5% thing, like paying with credit cards in the back office. I mean paying with credit cards, pay, paying with cashier, paying with crypto in the back office, which is 5%. So it is full price. And then that mailing to me will be either 2 day or overnight. No regular postal service, must be UPS or FedEx. So I am putting that out there that we are. You can do that now, okay? And the cool thing about that is we have till Saturday at 6. So all that I'll need is somebody to text me the receipt of UPS, the tracking receipt and a picture of the cashier's check, and then I can get it in right away before deadline. Okay, as long as I see that it's coming to me, I can get it in deadline, and then most of the people like Sarah or Andrea have access to my peer payment zone, and then other new rangers we can talk to about that. So, with that being said, they're making it easier and easier for us to complete the mining process. So, as they do this, trust me, now and next to now is how you want to build your business. You do not want to pass go. You want to not get paralysis of analysis, and you want to do everything that Brad just said to get out of the comfort zone and get your tail a moving. Because if not, you might have regret. And there's nothing that I teach on more than please try not to have regret in your life. Regret in your life does more damage in more ways than I can even talk about now. But with the tools that were just given to you, and the knowledge that we will be selling out of miners in 2026, now and next to now is one of my favorite trainings that I'll do someday on here. And so, Brad, with that, I don't see any questions, because you want to know why there's not questions? Because it was that good and that simple and that digestible. It was
Thank you.
100% digestible. I got notes. 100, man, I needed to hear everything from have you made a list, or is your list appropriate, or just kind of, and I believe that written is all the way there. I believe that there's something that goes from here to here, and then it makes its way to here, and then we're all set. But the song and dance, because then we're using the tools, believing in the company, and he just gave you all of the ways to put an extra set of belief in yourself so that you can put that belief off to your guests. So I thought it was absolutely amazing. Last words are yours, Mr. Brad. Take it away.
Man, thank you so much for having me. And I just want to finish with this, guys. Remember, you're just sharing information. And having somebody tell you no might seem like no fun, but you know what is a lot less fun? Is having somebody come to you in 6 months and say, "Why didn't you think enough of me to share this with me?" Let that sink in. You got somebody that you know is hurting. And if you don't share this with them and they come to you in 6 months and they say, "Man, what happened? You changed your zip code. You're not worried about money anymore. You've got this, you've got that. You look like you're happier than you've ever been." And you say, "Oh, yeah, man, I got excited about this business 6, 7, 8 months ago, and I've made a bunch of money, and I've got these miners that are producing passive income." And they come to you and say, "Why didn't you tell me?" What are you going to tell them? I promise you, getting a no is a lot less painful than having somebody ask you why you didn't care enough about them to share the information. Guys, just plant the seeds. We're not responsible for who takes the seed and plants it in the ground and waters it and does something with it. But I very much believe that we are responsible to share this with everybody that we can and let them decide for themselves. And with that, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for your time today. And hopefully we'll see you again real soon.